back, it's smoking.
That looks healthy.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. And some of you have asked for us to do some more real world cars, not just the big dollar builds, but some of the more realistic stuff that guys like, say, you and me can afford. So what we're getting into today is this really cool 71 Chevelle. This car's been here at my shop for a number of years. The owner rarely drives it. I'll be honest with you, it's in need of a little bit of love. It's a pretty simple overall build, lightly modified. That said, we're gonna get into this one, go for a little bit of a cruise and tell you about this car. So hold on, man, because here we go. So, 1971 Chevelle SS. Definitely not an original car. The owner he wasn't concerned with numbers matching or any of that kind of stuff. He just wanted a good car. You know, something that he could take out once in a while, drop the top, have some fun in it. The few things that are done to it, the motor was swapped. The original car would have had a 454 in it, like this one does. But this one's more modern. I gotta admit, I'm only guessing on all the details on this one because there's no information on it. But the motor looks, and I'd be curious to hear from some of you guys, guaranteed there's a lot of you guys that have more knowledge than I do. So motor 454 looks like it's, I would guess, out of like a, you know, possibly a crate motor from the 90s. That's just what it looks like to me. So I'd guess it's in the mid 400 horsepower range. That's about what it feels like when you drive this. It's no doubt geared pretty low, of 411 maybe, somewhere around there. It's definitely a stoplight to stoplight kind of car. My guess on the transmission is going to be a turbo 350. It's just a 3-speed automatic, quick shift. I notice it does have disc brakes up front. It does not have rear discs. It's drums and back. It looks to be all stock suspension underneath. Pretty simple. This is for the guys, you know, as you guys know, I show a lot of the radical builds, and I've had some of you guys ask if we would show some more of the kind of real world cars that you can, you know, guys like us can afford. And I'm guessing this car, because it's a convertible, because overall it's pretty clean, it doesn't need a lot to get it back into shape. I mean, it just seems like the engine needs to be gone through. Not a lot of stuff, you know. There's a couple little leaks. It's not running as great as it could be, but I mean, listen, right? It's just a cool old school muscle car. You got hooker headers on there. I don't even know what the muffler is on here. Flowmaster type, somewhere in that realm. This is just simple, old school, cool. The white with the black rally stripes, the black top, centerline wheels. You know, this is like, I remember stuff like this when I was a kid. This would have been, you know, you're talking mid 70s into the early 80s when I was getting into muscle cars. This is the kind of stuff we were doing back then. If you wanted to lower it, you just cut your springs. I'll bet some of you guys remember doing stuff like that. And overall, I mean, this is, you know, you look around in here, it's a pretty clean interior. It's basic, it's almost all original. Cool thing is, this thing does have air conditioning and it does work. I haven't used it, no need today. It's why the top's up actually, is it's a little bit chilly out for us here in LA. You know, I'd be curious to hear from some of you guys on this, anyone that's got an opinion. But if this was yours, what would you do to it? Because I know, I've even talked to the owner, he's just not a car guy, he's not into it. He started to get into cars for a minute, and that was it. It was a minute and it was done. It's just not his thing. And I've tried to talk him into kind of like, if this was my car and I had you know, I was willing to put a little bit of money into it, not a ton of money, not go over the top into the full resto mod, what would I do to it? And, you know, here's what I would do. I know Hotchkiss makes some great bolt right on here suspension. Bam, this car's set up with decent suspension. Right there. I'd get into the motor. I'd probably want to, you know, I mean, this does have Hawleys on it. I'd probably maybe go a little bigger, maybe even go EFI on it. I know some of you guys are probably more traditional and you like to keep with the carbureted motors, but gotta admit, for a guy like me that just wants to probably turn the key and enjoy driving the car, I think EFI would be great, more reliable, probably get a little more power out of this 454. But overall, I think I'd leave it mostly the same. I'd probably do away with this wheel. Nothing wrong with it, but I'd like a cooler, little fatter, more modern wheel on here. So that's what I would do to this thing. Maybe change the wheels. I'd probably, you know, it's another thing, I guess. I would go up to a bigger wheel, probably a 17, I think would be just perfect on here. A little bit bigger tire options for you. Definitely go with some more brakes. I'd want discs all around. What would you go with for brakes? Would you go Willwood? Would you go Brembo? You know, obviously you got a lot of options. And although having the B&M shifter's cool, I think I'd want this to be a manual car. I don't even know if I'd go to a 5-speed, but probably be tempted to go that way. Maybe just go with the obvious, go to trans, go to a Tremec in here. And as I'm almost falling out of the seat, at least a shoulder harness would be nice. I think I'd probably lean towards a seat that's got some bolster to it. But I don't know, then again, there's something about this old school look and feel. You know, it's funny. Once, I guess this is the problem. This is the addiction of the enthusiast, is you start doing a couple things and there's a couple more things. And next thing you know, you got a full-blown resto mod, right? I suppose overall you could just get the car simply into shape and leave it exactly as it is and enjoy the old technology for what it is. Well, I tell you what, sitting here at a stoplight, there's no question this thing's running a bit on the rich side. It's making some fumes, that's for sure. I just looked over and the lady in the car next to me was holding her hand over her mouth. Yep, handling is not its sharp point. Well, it's just incredible when you think about it. I mean, it's kind of fun actually getting in something like this and getting perspective on just how far technology's come. Suspension, tires, engines, steering, I mean everything. It's just amazing how far the technology's come, that you get in a modern muscle car like my ZL1 or, you know, any modern muscle car, and the handling is spectacular compared to this. Whoa, we're turning, whoa, hold on. Man, talk about old technology. Ooh, this thing's smoking up good right now. Time to get it off the road. Not looking good there. I'm gonna get it back, it's smoking. Well, that's it for driving, because this little girl needs some love. All right, you guys, that's it for our shoot today of the 71 Chevelle. Yes, it needs a little love. You can see a little fog building up on the windshield here. A little bit of coolant coming out. I remembered the last time this car was used was by my neighbor Dennis. They used it in a parade. It started to heat up. They pulled the thermostat out and just kind of whipped it back together. And that's how it's been left. So we have a little coolant dripping, a little bit of heat happening, no big deal. Car definitely needs some love, but I'm curious to hear from you guys what you would do if this car was yours. I know what I would do. I've got some great ideas for it, but I'd be curious to hear from you guys what you'd do if this was yours. All right, man. Well, thanks for hanging and watching and supporting what we're up to over here. And I will see you in the next episode. All right, man. Later.